What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 69. Here with my guy, Breton. How are you?
I'm another year older. It was my birthday weekend, buddy. It was my birthday weekend.
What?
And all I can tell you is it's my birthday weekend. My birthday is August 19th. I'm another year older. I am not going to tell you how old I am, but I can tell you that the Philadeplhia Union, my hometown team, and all the Americans playing in the Prem decided to give me a whole bunch of birthday presents this weekend. So
Yes.
we got a lot to talk about, though. But how are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing good, man, and I'm so glad, man. Happy birthday, Breton. I want to see in the comments down below, happy birthday comments for the best man in the States talking football. In my opinion, I'm going bold. And yes, people, if you want to see more episodes just like this, do not forget to like this episode and subscribe to FC Wonderkid on YouTube. But there's so much to talk about, and that's facts. And Casemiro went bold. I gotta say, Man United, we always said you guys needed a 6, and you got one of the best 6 in the history of the game. I gotta say, I like that move personally. Casemiro clearly does give a lot of importance to history, and Ronaldo is in Madrid, so I would love to know that Ronaldo had a hand in that transfer. But in 2 weeks' time, Ronaldo will have an interview that everything's going to be revealed as it seems. But Casemiro.
Yeah. Sheesh. Well, all I can say is maybe Casemiro will break the Brazilian playing for Manchester United curse, right? Because other Brazilians have not necessarily fared as well. You've got Fred, Anderson, Fabio and Rafael. You've got Andreas Pereira. You've got Alex Telles. Bye-bye. But ultimately, Casemiro, I mean, come on. He is the second most expensive over 30-year-old signing in history. I'm sure you know who number 1 is.
Ronaldo.
But it's just you have to admit there's a bit of weirdness to this transfer in the sense that, like, okay, maybe they didn't necessarily think, like, Erik ten Hag didn't come into Manchester United and say, day one, I need Casemiro.
Frankie de Jong, though.
Yes, but ultimately it's like, hey, if we can't get Frankie de Jong, we're going to go after probably the best DM on the planet, or at least the most successful DM on the planet, coming off of a La Liga title, coming off of a Champions League title. And that should have been probably his move day one, was to reach out to Casemiro saying, I want to make a big splash, and I want you to be the DM because Fred, I almost called it Fred Tomine, McToma Fred, whatever we call that midfield partnership, is not cutting it. It's just they could have done this sooner. So the fact that he said yes, the fact that he wants a new challenge, I know Ancelotti can't see his way to even understand this. The same way Schroeder at Ajax is like, Anthony wants to go and play Champions League football. We'll get to that. But it is an amazing, amazing get. And I can only imagine that for Manchester United fans is kind of a breath of, we're still a big club. We still have clout. We can get this done, and we can turn this around. And you got to think that this is the start of, maybe it's the start of something.
I agree. Definitely can be. And Casemiro, Varane, and Ronaldo, the 3 former Galacticos, can, if Ronaldo stays, make definitely a difference. But they have to start. Casemiro coming to Man United is the best news ever for Varane, but it's the worst news ever for McTominay, in my opinion. His days are counted, and it's good news, man. Fred and Casemiro have played in the national team together for a bunch of games, and they will start at Man United. I believe so. But Casemiro just gives the confidence to the center backs too. And I want to say, Maguire news, I love to see that Maguire news to leave, because once again, it reiterates what I'm saying of Varane to start. If Casemiro's there, if Varane is there, if Ronaldo stays, Maguire cannot be the captain of Man United. It's clear as day. And if he's the captain of a team losing to Brentford the way they did, he needs to be doing something about it. And we don't see Maguire doing anything. I see Ronaldo angry. Ronaldo doesn't want to be doesn't want to be linked to the results, the recent results of Man United. He's disgusted by this. And I think Casemiro is definitely a good way of convincing. And you said it. No, not convinced De Jong. Definitely De Jong. No denying. De Jong was the first target, but Casemiro as the second. It ain't bad. And 70 million is a bold transfer fee, an elite deal by Real to offload, and 400k a week is a lot, okay? Casemiro is getting big bucks as he deserved with all the Champions League prestige. But I gotta say this too. There's something else that is a problem with Man United, and Erik ten Hag has noticed it straight off the bat. And it's, I don't want to say it because last season it was instrumental, but it's De Gea. To be fair, De Gea right now is the most well-paid goalkeeper in the world, getting 510k a week, okay? He earns more than Courtois, Alisson, Ederson, and all these incredible keepers performing at a high level. If you paid half for a keeper like at Man United and get better performance and just invest elsewhere in defense, you could get better results. So Erik ten Hag, I'm sure he's more than fine for De Gea to leave after the season. Contract runs out until 2023, people, and I do not think that they will extend or whatsoever. I think he's gonna go or might leave for a transfer fee this summer. And if Man United did that, they would be showing that they're learning with Real Madrid of how to sell assets that are deteriorating with their team. So I just want to say that. Yeah.
Well, that would be a step in the right direction for their stewardship of the club in terms of recognizing that you don't want to be tied to De Gea. But I feel like it's a little sad comparing, what he did for them last season when they were going through it. And I know, like, De Gea can't score them goals. De Gea can't whatever, but he kept them in a lot of games. I understand that Brentford game was literally one of the worst he's ever had in a Manchester United shirt. But yeah, that if it's the way Ten Hag wants to go, it's the way Ten Hag can go when it comes down to it. But I mean, it's not as if it was this criminal overpayment necessarily for what De Gea has given them over the years in terms of his consistency for the most part, in terms of some of the times, for some of the seasons he's standing on his head. It's not like at Barcelona where they're going to open up like criminal proceedings against past people that made these contract decisions to put him in. It wasn't that bad.
It was a bad extension by Ed Woodburn at the time.
Of course.
It was a bad call to give De Gea that big extension. And now, just like every player that Erik ten Hag now has, like Mata, like Bailey, McTominay, Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I got here Maguire. All of these bad decisions now. Erik ten Hag, I think he's solving it. So
badly run club, but I'm going to make a little bit of a bold statement with literally no substantiation to it at all. But I guarantee you that if Scott McTominay moves on, if Harry Maguire moves on, if David De Gea moves on, they're going to be just fine in their new clubs. And they are not going to be necessarily under the same microscope that they're under as it stands. Okay. McTominay can do wonders in a limited role. I think he's asked to do too much at United. And frankly, if he goes to Newcastle, I know they're an admirer of him. I bet you he would be a wonderful, wonderful depth piece for them. So, I get it. McTominay, everybody needs a scapegoat. It isn't just McTominay. It's not just
at Chelsea.
To be honest, I do. I mean, the same way that they played to Antonio Rudiger's strengths, and I'm not comparing Maguire and Rudiger right now as a apples to apples comparison, but I do believe that a Maguire in a three center back system could do pretty well under Tuchel. If Tuchel is still, kind of up for what he's up for after that drubbing at the hands of Leeds United, but we'll get to that. But listen, there is a byproduct of this. that I really like of this Casemiro signing. One, it is obviously a statement that the ownership is ready to spend, because I think fighting the ownership, as much as I understand that there might be some sort of a walkout going on, in this Manchester United-Liverpool game. But when it comes down to it, I don't believe that the Glazer issue is going to be solved tomorrow or the next 5 days. And you certainly don't want it solved if it's going to, say, Apollo Management or some private equity firm. So when it comes down to it, I believe the better thing was going to be Ten Hag working and saying, listen, you promised me carte blanche. You promised me the ability, the resources to go after what I want. I'm telling you who I want right now. Get the hell out of my way. Let me do it. And they're saying, begrudgingly, they're saying yes. And Casemiro is a great start. Now, the byproduct I'm talking about here is from a FC Wonderkid perspective. At least you and I get to watch Aurelien Tchouameni work his magic in La Liga, work through maybe some kinks to moving from Ligue 1 to La Liga. And he obviously passed that test over the weekend with flying colors, but it's going to be a long season. Man United isn't done yet. Casemiro is number one, and my guess is there's a certain winger they're going after.
I feel like the next transfers that Man United are going to get, Fabrizio has said, is a new goalkeeper that I think they're already thinking about replacing the salary. Right back, which let's get to it after, and a winger, that I believe fully it's Antony or bust. And Antony at Man United will definitely improve the competition with Sancho. Sancho on one end, Antony on the other. They would be pressured to perform, and one would want to overshine the other. It would just be beautiful, man. And I think both would be able to play with each other at a high level in which they could switch flanks and play with both feet in each wing. I really believe that Antony transfer, they can't get a striker, so get big time at winger. I like that move for Erik Ten Hag. And as we've seen in the past, Malacia, Eriksen, Martinez, and now he wants Antony too. It's all based on familiarity with Erik Ten Hag. He wants what he knows that has quality, and understandably so. And Casemiro, it's just proven 100% quality, okay? Yeah. So I think Antony is the right move for Man United fans, personally.
Well, and clearly he wants to move, right? Clearly he wants it because he has not been in training. He was not in the matchday squad for Ajax over the weekend. So my only issue, as you and I have butt heads in the past about these types of transfers, is the cost. Because if you're going to spend $100 million, which you could be spending on Antony, you really could, in order to pry him away, it almost feels like Erik Ten Hag is a Trojan horse sent to Manchester United to bilk 160, 180 million plus for Lisandro Martinez and Antony. I mean, that, I know it's not that much. That's kind of tongue in cheek.
It's a lot, though.
But you get what I'm saying here. Like, do you really believe? Are we over the point of it didn't work out with Sancho? It hasn't worked out for Grealish in Manchester City yet. I get that he's worth 100 million to Ajax, but is he really worth 100 million to Manchester United?
Well, I agree. If it was to another club, it wouldn't be 100. But if it's to Man United, it will be 100 million. Because they just know how much Erik Ten Hag needs a player that he's known previously. And you got to say to Ajax, good, fair enough. And getting that extension on Julian Timber too, it's like saying to them, we've picked Timber to stay. Go for Antony, okay? He can get 100 million for him. And yeah, if it's that fee, good deal by Ajax. So, I think there's a ton of moves to be done. And with right back, I was hinting with, Xavi has said that he has no interest in Serginho Dest staying at Barcelona. So, I could see Serginho Dest actually going to Man United, okay? And that's right side, Sancho with Dest. And then the other side, Antony, man. So, a lot of promise that can come. But I don't know if that's the move to do. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm gonna say something after today. After the weekend with Chelsea and them getting put in their place by Brighton. I don't think Manchester United's interest in Christian Pulisic has necessarily cooled off just yet. I know that there is a fan base he's a cheaper option.
Yeah,
than spending 100 million, right? He's a
True.
cheaper option. You could get him on loan. Now, whether or not Chelsea will loan to somebody...
How much would Pulisic be for Man United? 30 to 40?
He wouldn't be the 70 that it cost Chelsea to get him from Dortmund. So it would probably be 30 or 40, and then you could spend the 20 or 30 or maybe the 20 that it would take to get Dest in. And now you've got the same competition. You've got the same... Yeah, I'm just... It just seems like... Antony or bust, like, really? I know he is a phenomenal player. He is a phenomenal player. He has shown it in the Champions League.
Sancho's not showing it, man. That's why I'm like, Sancho, I would expect to be showing better results. I know it's a start, but still, maybe he needs that right back combining with him. And definitely for the center backs, I don't feel it's fair on judging him without Casemiro being there now. But yes, let's wait and see. And people, put down below your thoughts about Man United. Do you think Casemiro was a bold deal? Who are they going to get for the goalkeeper, right back role, or winger? Tell us your thoughts down below in the comment section. And you hinted, Pulisic, Chelsea, and something really bold happened. And yes, Leeds keep marching on and beating now Chelsea. That is a complete bold deal, and the Americans have a high influence. Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson. Like, what are your thoughts, Brenton, on this? Like,
I'm glad we're getting to this early on, because otherwise this would have run a 2-hour podcast at the end if we waited till the end. Now, I see what you did there, by the way. Marching on. They're marching on. That's good. Jesse marching on. You're killing me. Hey, listen. The Chelsea were the better team in the first 20, 30 minutes.
True.
Okay? And I actually agree with Thomas Tuchel on his assumptions based on that. But once they got those 2 goals in 4 minutes, once Mendy made that mistake and Brendan Aronson, literally, this is the only way Brendan Aronson was ever going to score a first goal. Okay? Because this is what makes Brendan Aronson so good. He is such a pest. He is like the little brother that is just always tapping on the big brother's shoulder saying, I want to do that, I want to do that. He's always up in your grill, always up in your face. When you don't expect him to be there, he's there. And add a little buttery technique, add a little, tight ball control, and you've got Brendan Aronson. Oh, and strap on an engine to him that, nobody else in the Premier League has. I'm going to say it, okay? He will run through walls for whatever team he plays for. And there's a reason why he's covered the most ground than the majority of players on this planet since he's become, a European player. So when it comes down to it, it was wonderful to see this type of, it's one game. It's validation in some respects. It's validation for what Jesse Marsch is building. It's validation for what Brendan Aronson can bring. I think Tyler Adams, in my opinion, was still the man of the match. True. Yep. And if you can keep him healthy, he is that cog that will do all the things that Aronson will do, except add a crunching tackle to the end of it. And that's what you've got with Tyler Adams. So it was absolutely wonderful to see the tactics work out. And what were the tactics? Frenetic pressing, right? Constant mistake generation. And then what do you do at the end of it? And now you've got Rodrigo Moreno in Golden Boot talks. Okay, maybe not, but he's got 4 goals, 1 assist in 3 games. They've won 2 of these games, I believe, away, right? Away, maybe? I could be wrong.
Yes.
But Leeds United, no, they're going to run into bumps. They're going to run into trials and tribulations. They still don't have an incredibly deep squad. But what they did, was they saw their weaknesses. They saw what they had to get, and they wasted no time because Jesse Marsch, the same way Ten Hag did, except there's a couple weeks involved here. Jesse Marsch right away said, I want to go with who I'm familiar with. True. I want to go with, first and foremost, who will provide, even if they have limitations, who will provide me the best engine that I can build upon, right?
True.
Tactical familiarity, that relentless pressing. And then it steps it up a notch. So Leeds United, I think, is well on their way to at least being a team that's going to be hard to beat.
And with Leeds, I'm going to say no Khvicha, no Calvin Phillips, no Bamford, as it seems, and they keep on getting better. It shows that the transfer policy by Leeds United was perfecto this summer. They spent big, but they got big results and players, in my opinion. Brendan Aronson, in my opinion, legitimately is the most informed American right now. Man, I love seeing him play. I absolutely love it. McKennie, I do know he can go bold, but Brendan Aronson right now, love to see it. And Adams, man. Yes, don't not forget on Tyler Adams. People at home, watch him at the 6th row. Great to see off ball, in my opinion. But my last thoughts with Leeds, it's with Marsh, I love what he's doing. I gotta say. And with Jesse Marsh, correct me if I'm wrong in anything I'm saying, because I feel like you know him better. But Jesse Marsh, I really feel like he's a psychological based manager, because in Leeds United I still see a lot of fundamentals done by Bielsa in the tactics, and I do see how he completes it, but I still see Bielsa highly in the print in Bielsa and Leeds United style of play. So what I gotta say about Jesse Marsh is so admirable, in my opinion, how every single player in that team loves the manager. And I feel the key for his success is his transparency. And I got to admire a transparent guy succeeding in the football soccer world, maybe for Jesse, but succeeding at the highest level. So I really wanted to say keep going bold, Jesse Marsh and Brendan Aronson and Rasmus Christensen. I want to give a shout out to him.
He's a bigger boy than anyone. He's not a boy, but he is bigger than anyone gives him credit for. He went into a couple of those tackles, and I was like, man, I would not want to be the person.
Set pieces. He had so much. So much. For me, it's like Rom. Both fullbacks, both Red Bull, but Salzburg before, in case. Christensen, like, underrated. Like, so.
Yeah, and I think you're spot on with Marsh in terms of the respect he obviously has for Bielsa. I think a lot of that is also the Red Bull upbringing, in terms of tactically, because there's that gegenpressing in there. Right, yes. Relentless in that, and it's almost like what's his name, Ralph Rangnick, right? It's as if they had a heart-to-heart conversation at some point, which they most absolutely have at some point. So I believe that's Red Bull New York, where he first crossed paths with Tyler Adams, and then it was Salzburg, and then it was Leipzig, as short as it was, but he was there as an assistant coach for a while. I just think there's that Red Bull mentality. With a little bit of Bielsa left behind and that physical capacity. And if you knew Jesse Marsh as a player, Jesse Marsh is exactly that player. He was transparent. He was not afraid to speak out. He was bone crunching. He was relentless. And he knew his limitations, and he always played to his strengths. And he was a DM that you would not want to come up against 1v1. Especially if it was the goal that was in behind you, because he would take you out, likely behead you before you ever got a shot on goal.
Just so I don't forget, like Chelsea too. I want to say this. I don't know if you got to it. Like Ruben Loftus-Cheek at right wing back. I love him as a player, but put him in midfield, the minimal. Okay, I feel like he has to play where he has to, and right wing back, give that role to Reece James. Cut it, okay? That's where he's supposed to play, and that's where he gives the best results for Chelsea. So stick him at right wing back and solve the center back issue, man. Chelsea, they will not improve. What if this issue is still right there? So I really had to say that.
No, and that's a great statement in the sense that I once again, the best, most clear-cut chances in Tuchel's system was from a defender. It was Cucurella. Cucurella had multiple opportunities to just put a ball on net and couldn't get it done. And I don't know. I'm leaning more towards the fact that it's a system and not a personnel problem with Tuchel right now. And I'm also worried that we're at the beginning stages of Thomas Tuchel potentially losing the locker room in some respects. Because you've got all sorts of offensive players that literally don't seemingly want to play for this guy, or at least from a public perspective, is not exactly right. Is not exactly going like, Christian Pulisic is a company man, right? He wants to play for the manager, right?
Boily, man, and definitely.
I don't know. So I'm honestly I'm kind of at a loss, because Kai Havertz absent. Raheem Sterling in the first 20 minutes was a lightning bolt, and then disappeared the last 70 minutes of the game. Okay, Koulibaly, I know, is not an attacking player, but he's making mistakes that I really didn't see him make at Napoli.
Very true. That red card, oh man,
avoidable. So avoidable.
And I feel like the frustration will kill Tuchel at Chelsea if that's what it's happening. And like how personally he took it with Conte, man. I think Conte is more comfortable at his job at Tottenham than Tuchel right now at Chelsea with no finishing, man. No striker. Just give Broja a chance. And Havertz, I honestly feel like he knows he's going to play at Bayern if he's going to leave. But Chelsea Havertz has the potential of becoming a Chelsea legend if he were to stay long term. But I completely agree with all your thoughts about Chelsea. But sorry.
But last thing before you do that, because I know where you're going, but if I'm Chelsea, and if Wesley Fofana is the guy that you need to shore up that center back core, if you will. If I'm Brendan Rodgers, if I'm Leicester City, who are also not exactly trending as high as they would like to be, I would take that money and run, because it's very clear Wesley Fofana wants to go to Chelsea.
Agreed.
Okay, let it happen. Hike up the price as much as you most possibly can. Let him go, and then reinvest that smartly, like Brendan Rodgers in the past has shown he could potentially do. Okay, but when it comes to Chelsea, if that is it, if that honestly Todd Boehly is the reason, whether it's Boehly or whoever makes the decisions, Tuchel, you get Fofana in, you get him in right away. But that just reinforces to me that it's not he doesn't believe it's a personnel issue, Thomas Tuchel. If he's still relying on Havertz to get it done, if he's still relying on, Loftus-Cheek.
It's in defense, and I agree. Like Fofana, for me, the best thing that Chelsea did this summer was keeping Azpilicueta for another 2 years. He knows the club. He's a great role model for all the defenders, and he gives answers at the center back, at the full back. And I agree. They have to solve at the back in order to play Tuchel's best football, because players like Jorginho, players like Rudiger, those are the stars of a Tuchel style of play. So let's wait and see. And people, put down below your thoughts about Chelsea. What's gonna happen at Chelsea, and will Chelsea get top 4 and Tuchel go bold in this season? Let's wait and see. But if you're enjoying too, do not forget to like this video, community, and go bold down below in the comment section. But we hinted top 3, top 4 Chelsea, and a team keeps on getting better and showing results at the highest level. And for the first time since 2004, Arsenal won their first 3 matches in the Premier League. So Arteta, you're going bold with Saliba. What a goal, what a beauty, and 100% pass accuracy. No mistakes. And again, I really believe this, and with time, it keeps on getting better. And I know the listeners on the pod know how high I rate Saliba. And I legitimately might say he's the Mbappe of center backs. Like I see a lot of comments about Saliba. And I love that. I feel like it's deserving. He's very complete. Very complete. Saliba's very complete, in my opinion.
I'm with you. And I'm not going to pour cold water on it. I am going to say right now that hands down, they are the most fun team to watch in the Premier League as it stands. The most fun team to watch.
Agreed.
And I am going to tell you right now, and I said this last week when they also impressed us, I don't think they're anywhere close to the finished product. I think they would even say to you that they are nowhere close to the finished product. So what it comes down to is, all I have to say, and this is definitely tongue-in-cheek, is that only 35 more games left, Arsenal fans, and you can lift that trophy. No, but I do have to tell you. It was tongue-in-cheek. But I do believe that they can finish top 3, although Spurs, Conte, they look good right now, and it's still so ridiculously early, and injuries generally play a role, and all depth, all that fun stuff. But I do have to say, you mentioned 2004 was the last time that they won their first 3 games, okay? That team obviously was part of an era that was coming to an end, I suppose, at that moment in time, right? Or getting closer to coming to an end. But that team that year, the only reason they did not win the Premier League was because Chelsea had that ridiculous season. absolutely ridiculous season. 1 loss. Yeah, absolutely unbelievable season. But that season for Arsenal was also one of the most entertaining. Thierry Henry won the Golden Boot with 25 goals. You had Robert Pires that was up there. I think he was third. And they were so incredibly fun to watch in that same year. And they had a plus 51 goal differential that season. Okay. And that was only like 2 or 3 behind Chelsea, who ended up winning the Premier League. So they were a fun team to watch. And I'm sure all Arsenal fans looking at this right now or listening to this right now would be like, hey, if we finish second place to City this year, we're going to take that as what? That's going to be progress. And
winning the league after. It has to be. And for Arteta, man, it says to them, spend big this summer on me, and we win the Premier League after. If they get second. Yeah. Like, if that's the case. But where would they spend? Like, it'd be midfield.
It would be midfield. It would be shoring up that midfield because as good as Thomas Partey is when he's on the field, he is not reliable to actually get on the field.
I agree. In terms of injury, like he's one step away, as it seems, because he is a big player. And like to play at that level, at that speed, with his weight, with his body, it's not easy. I agree. But Partey in form is one of the best CDMs in the league. And if Arsenal are going to do this that we're saying about top 3 and top 4, they need Partey to be involved. Like, great shout by saying they need to get the CDM sorted. Shaka.
But I also got to say, Shaka's, he was kind of a pretty decent cog in the wheel during this match, but Gabriel Jesus is an absolute handful, man.
I agree.
He's slaloming through defenders, just doing things that you would never, ever. I mean, even Aubameyang wouldn't do that. Okay, Lacazette very clearly would not do that. Just with and I get it. It might get him into trouble sometimes in future games. But he was absolutely the catalyst for that win. And that slalom through the defense that led to Odegaard's tap-in ultimately.
Exactly.
It's just pretty stuff. Good stuff.
I really feel like to explain the phenom that is happening. That is true. Gabriel Jesus is showing much better levels and the best version of himself ever at striker. And the reason why that's happening is because Arteta knows the player very, very well, and because he has Captain Martin Odegaard behind him. Odegaard is creating the chances that make Gabriel Jesus score those goals and make amazing runs in space. The Jesus-Odegaard link-up, I'm going to say it, it's definitely one of the best duos right now in the world of football to watch, no doubt. But in terms of potential, they are showing exactly that. And I got to say, Odegaard is worth the hype. He's gotten a brace in top-tier football, and it's the first time ever since he's played, in Norway too. I think 16. So yes, Odegaard scoring that brace. And for Arsenal fans, man, instrumental. Zinchenko, very good. Tierney's starting to get minutes. And we still... and Smith Rowe, good substitution when he come on. That was very interesting too. And we still haven't seen Fabio Vieira. So I want to say that to Arsenal fans. So you have 3 and 3 and still no Fabio Vieira. So elite promise, in my opinion. And it's going to be a great season to watch with Arsenal. I'm very excited, man. Very excited.
Did they re-up that Amazon Prime documentary for a second season? Because I think people are going to want to see that, right? Here's what it comes down to is you can't get complacent. They're going to come up against much harder games, but they are playing just really, really fun football to watch. Almost as fun as watching Alan Saint-Maximin versus Manchester City this weekend. Okay, almost as fun as that because... That I don't mean to pivot. Do you want to stick on Arsenal?
Let's go.
Okay, we can pivot to that game?
Yes.
Because Newcastle versus Manchester City was just so open and so fun to watch. I think it was a deserved result for Newcastle to get a point out of that, but you always knew that at some point De Bruyne was going to show his class.
Don't lose.
But ultimately, I just have to start with Alan Saint-Maximin because if Eddie Howe can continue doing what he's doing, which is kind of honing that final product of Saint-Maximin, because we all know that he can take any defender, even Kyle Walker, for a jog. Right? He can take him. He can take him on. He can pull him into create space like the best of them. It's always that final product with him. True. And he showed he had his hand in every Newcastle goal. He won in the Trippier's great goal. He won the foul. The first one was his pass to, was that Almiron?
Yes.
That went off of Almiron's thigh. And then the second one that I, of course, am forgetting right now was a goal of his own. Okay? So I love what we all know, that he will dribble. He is fearless. He'll take anybody on. But if he can show another level for Newcastle, they're not going to need to go find Moussa Diaby. They're not going to need to go find another winger or spend money. They've got Saint-Maximin there because he is now a cog in the machine and not just some guy doing his own thing, right? And he was so fun to watch. And counter to that, and I don't mean to keep talking here, I have worries. Here. I know Erling Haaland scored a goal, okay? I know Erling Haaland is going to score a bunch of goals this year, but Erling Haaland scoring a bunch of goals off of like 10 touches for a game, he's boring. It's going to be boring to watch Erling Haaland in the Premier League if all he does, I get it from a footballing perspective, it's great for City fans. It is. But I love Erling Haaland doing 50-yard runs, man. I know. The De Bruyne assist was great, but...
I feel it, though. And what I got to say with City, man, I will start with City, is like, once again, this season, I think Gundogan is going to prove to the world that he's one of the most underrated, not just midfielders, but football players in the world of football, okay? Gundogan, captain, okay, in that game, and totally deserved with that goal, okay? I'd love to see Gundogan involved, and there was a lot of news that he was going to leave this season, but because a lot of players are leaving City, Guardiola said, no, Gundogan, you can't go too. And as we see too, Bernard Silva, maybe he's not going this season. All it depends, man. And let's wait and see with Barcelona, all that chit-chat. But for Guardiola, it would be a hard miss, Bernard Silva going too. So those two remaining will be key pieces, Gundogan and Bernard Silva, for Man City to win the Prem once again. And De Bruyne showing those levels. And Foden, again, needs to be more involved. But I think Foden will improve much more this season, too, with Haaland there. But Rodri, though, Rodri's getting more confident, too, in his final third decisions. So I do think Rodri is improving with time. And he's a very focused player, too. I got to say, man, Rodri improving as a player. I wanted to shout out Rodri, too. So, but Newcastle, again, you said Maxine. You said Alan Saint-Maxime. And competition. The reason why he's performing so well, in my opinion, is because he knows if Newcastle have this huge investment, football, goals, wingers, you got to spend big, okay? So, Maxine, go to that bold level and play for France type level, okay? National team. That's what it will be needed in the future to start for Newcastle. And the biggest winner in all this about Newcastle is Eddie Howe, in my opinion, showing that he's a masterclass tactician. Because in terms of tactics, there was moments that he was leveled with Guardiola and Man City. And the team doesn't have better pieces than Man City. So Eddie Howe, great job. And Bruno Guimarães, showing that he's one of the best midfielders, not just in the Prem, in the world, in my opinion. So Real Madrid, interested, it's understandable. Bruno Guimarães is levels. And Newcastle fans, chat him non-stop for this man not to leave and become a key piece like Man City did with Aguero and David Silva in the past. Bruno Guimarães in Newcastle. I could see that.
Well, there you go. You covered a lot there, but I want to circle back on that Alan Saint-Maximin shout, because you could do worse in the last 15 minutes a game, especially if you've got Kylian Mbappe doing Kylian Mbappe things these days from his high heights at PSG. You could do worse than having Alan Saint-Maximin in some group stage games coming off the bench with 15 minutes to go at tired defenders. I get it. And Nkunku, but Nkunku doesn't have the dribbling ability that Saint-Maximin does. He's a specialist.
He's filthy. Maxine is filthy. Yeah,
he is, and he's strong. He's low center. I mean, he is tough to stop. He's the only one that can stop himself. I mean, he's like, Anyway, but ultimately, I do have to circle back because I might have to just kind of morsel this. I got to tidbit this. Okay, this is what I'm saying. Erling Haaland, okay, will score probably 20 plus goals in the Premier League this season.
I think so.
But if we don't see him do the things that he did at Dortmund that made him look like an absolute, like, just goal machine, it's going to be like, I can't even believe I'm saying this. It's going to be the most boring 20-goal season we've all ever watched. So you're right. If it's not handled by a De Bruyne assist every time, a delightful ball that nobody else on this planet sees but KDB, then I'm going to be disappointed. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to be disappointed in a Haaland season that doesn't see Haaland his true self. He's just a poacher then. He's just a guy that...
I feel where you're coming from. I agreed that he's having a tough time introducing himself to the Premier League. It's a different style of play. But
he has 3 goals.
I agree. I definitely agree. But I think he comes with the intention of winning that Champions League. And I think Haaland will show his best football results in the Champions League at Man City. But I do feel where you're coming from. In the Prem, he's not showing the best. But he will improve. He will improve. But in the Champions...
he's still going to score goals. He doesn't need, in this Manchester City setup, he does not need to be his best to score goals because of his size, because of his... They're going to look for him. What I'm just saying is, like, it doesn't almost feel like he's... I get it. He creates space. He commands a lot of attention. There's a lot of things off the ball that really helps in the fluidity of City's tactics here. But ultimately, obviously, I think all of us fell in love with a Haaland that rampages through defenses or beats somebody just ridiculously that is much smaller than him or looking seemingly faster than him, and he beats them with his strength and stride. So yeah, you're right. It is early days. It is Erling days.
Yes.
I think we will see the multiple dimensions of Erling Haaland, but as of right now, even with 3 goals under his belt, I'm looking at Erling Haaland and being like, this is boring.
Yeah, but I feel where you're coming from. It will get better. And people, put down below, what are your thoughts about Man City, Newcastle? Anyhow, they will get in the transfer market because Newcastle can go in the transfer market still. And will City win the league? That's the big question. Put down below your thoughts. And yeah, we still have Prem. We got a big result here. Tottenham getting that win against Portugal FC. No, Wolves, I'm joking. I'm joking. But I gotta say this. Yeah, exactly. 7 Portuguese players started for Wolves against Tottenham. And they played in great style. Ruben Neves, Motinho, Gonçalo Guedes fits the Premier League mold so well. I really believe he's going to be a great signing for Wolverhampton this season. And Matheus Nunes. I've said it. One of the best box-to-box midfielders coming to the Prem in the world, in my opinion, and he comes in style. Matheus Nunes. He's going to be the difference this season for Wolves. From promotion battle, relegation battle, to maybe top 10 battle, in my opinion. Matheus Nunes. So, bora lá.
Okay.
Bora, Matheus.
Yeah.
23 still.
And Tottenham, I mean, that's the kind of game they're going to have to grind out every time if they're going to make progress under Conte. And I'm sure Conte was critical of that, but Harry Kane got his goal.
Yes.
I mean, that back three of, what was it? It was Davies, Davinson, and Dyer, right? The 3D.
And Kane became the top goal scorer ever in a single Premier League club with 185 goals. So he's going to be an iconic legend, definitely, in the Premier League. So put some respect on Harry Kane's name. 185 goals in the Prem. That's insane.
That's ridiculous.
Insane.
Yeah,
so
it is. But I thought I agree with you. I thought it was a good showing for Matheus Nunes in his first game. I thought it was a good showing for Gonçalo Guedes. But it is going to be, I don't know. I mean, at some point, maybe Wolves looks at Bruno Lage and says he's not the guy. But as of right now, it is Portugal FC. So the same way Leeds United is Leeds USA, we got to somehow call them the Portugal Wolves or
Wolves
something.
Leeds, man. Wolves beats Leeds.
Yeah.
But
you know what? Speaking, not going back to Leeds, but there is a matchup next weekend of absolute Premier League titans. And it is Leeds United versus Brighton.
Ooh,
Brighton, baby, because they continue to win, man, and it is just great to see. And at some point, I got to ask you: do we have worries about West Ham? But we can get to that. Right now, I want to focus on Brighton because the transfer policy, everything. Alexis McAllister, I told you to watch out for him. He's making everybody forget about Basuma a little bit. If you add him to Caicedo and what he's doing, Leandro Trossard continues to do really well. But this is a team that has a strategy. They do not have the best players. They have a good transfer policy that got them to buy Cucurella for 18 million. Sell them for whatever, 60 or whatever it was. And then they went out and they spent the original principal of 18 million on Estupinan for their left back. I mean, that type of kind of financial acuity is just smart. And I really want to see them do well this season. I just really like this system they're putting together. And yes, Brighton Leeds next weekend is actually going to be a fun game to watch. It will be a fun game to watch. But I had to give them their shout out and then pivot to, there are two teams I know it's early, but that we have to start worrying about. And that is David Moyes' West Ham, and it is also Stevie Gerrard's Aston Villa.
True. I agree. And West Ham too, like with all those transfer fees spent, like in Diego Carlos, I do feel like it's a justification for Stevie G. I feel like he can get to that. But I feel that those two managers can be the sacking season. I agree. And I want to say this too, man. You said great business transfers, Brighton. I completely agree. Graham Potter, one of the best man making decision in terms of football. Definitely in England, in my opinion. But I wanted to say that Morgan Gibbs-White, this transfer, man, what was that, man? 45 million to Nottingham Forest. It only makes Wolves look better getting 50 million for Mateusz Nunes and then offloading Gibbs-White. And now I fully expect Wolves to get a striker too to score those goals. So, yeah, man, that for me was a bizarre business by Nottingham Forest, but can show results. Let's wait and see. They might see Gibbs-White as the missing piece in their rebuild to be a Premier League top team. So, yeah, let's wait and see. Nottingham Forest fighting to stay in the Prem.
Yeah, and I'll be completely honest with you. Nottingham Forest is coming together a whole lot faster and gelling a whole lot faster than I would have expected from a team that literally just bought a whole team in the offseason. Like, they bought, 15 different players, 16 different players, something ridiculous like that.
True.
And I do have to tell you just a quick little side story. When I got out of college, the first player that I ever interviewed, it was Dane Murphy. And Dane Murphy is the CEO. He's a 36-year-old CEO of Nottingham Forest. He is one of the architects of Forest's improbable run to promotion last season. He's also impeccably dressed. But Dane Murphy is an American. Dane Murphy played for DC United. Dane Murphy, I think, dated somebody in my old town where I grew up. But he is kind of the mastermind there. So when it kind of comes down to it, you add to that Cooper, who's a great tactician, a great young manager as well. I am rooting. I put Forest really, really close to relegation, if not in the relegation zone. But I would love to see them kind of come together because I love the fight. I love Brennan Johnson, right? I love Lewis O'Brien, who they brought in from Huddersfield, who has an engine similar. Yeah, there's Nico Williams has really shown a whole lot from the get-go. But yeah, you're right. Nottingham Forest is fun. I think that they could wind up being okay this season. And if they get even more replacements that have instant impacts.
And my last shout in the Prem, I just want to give it to Fulham because Fulham, Wolves. Wolves is going bold with Mark Silva. And Fulham are doing great games. And I got to say that 3-2 win. Mitrovic, Palhinha showing the guarantees that we promised here at FC Wonderkid. Palhinha is one of the best CDMs out there in the world, in my opinion. And at Fulham, they have the player for the rebuild. And Mark Silva. Andrés Pereira looking good too. I think they are going to have a great season staying in the Prem and not being in the relegation battle. Fulham, in my opinion. And Mitrovic showing that it's in the Prem that he can ball out. So he's got already three goals in the Premier League. So plus 10 Mitrovic. That's what we want to see, definitely.
Yeah.
So
and a quick a quick shout out to Jay Stansfield, who got his first Premier League start for Fulham. And he's a Fulham product.
Yes.
Yeah, he had some injuries, but you and I, when we first met, we were talking about Jay Stansfield and how he was coming up, along with Fabio Carvalho and some other names that were in there. So Jay Stansfield, I honestly hope he can play a role for them. And then I got to shout out Tim Ream, because even I, at the beginning of the season, said there's no way Fulham could start really well with Tim Ream once again at center back. But man, he has his limitations. He has his limitations in mobility. He's getting up there in age, but he will always give you everything he's got. And as the captain of Fulham, he has done as well as he most possibly could in that back line with Tosin. And I hope that I wouldn't call it luck, but that fight continues for him, because I have to apologize to him. But listen, to circle it back, because Fulham is great, before we leave the Premier League, you sort of mentioned in there that maybe Stevie Gerrard, maybe Moyes should be potentially on the hot seat, right?
Yep.
Okay, you ready for this? West Ham, okay? Let's start actually with Aston Villa. Aston Villa has literally won 2 times, okay, in their last 13 matches. All right?
That's not a
2 times.
That's a bad run. Yeah, that's not the best one.
8 losses, 3 draws. I know. And Coutinho, listen, I think Coutinho might be better on loan than he is on an actual contract, right? Because at least on loan, he's got
Brazil.
a point,
he's gonna be
a
called
point
up.
to prove.
He's gonna be called up for Brazil, but like how? Why?
I get it, but you ready for a stat? And I copped this from Statman Dave, so go follow him on Twitter. But Dean Henderson, the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, on loan for Manchester United. And remember when Manchester United was, might be getting ready to replace De Gea? Well, they got rid of Dean Henderson. They could have just, whatever. But anyway, the stat is this. Dean Henderson has more touches in the Premier League this season than Felipe Coutinho.
Hey! Oh my days.
Okay?
What is Coutinho doing?
So Villa absolutely needs Coutinho to wake up, or Gerrard needs to find a way to get him ready to go. Because, listen, Gerrard, and I know it predates Gerrard and him taking over, but Aston Villa have spent over 300 million euros in just the last 3 seasons. Okay? A lot of that was Grealish money that came in. So net-wise, it wasn't that much money. But gross proceeds, 300 million or so euros, okay? Danny Ings, Buendia, Leon Bailey, Diego Carlos, a bunch of names I'm currently forgetting, okay? But it really comes down to the fact that I don't know how you get past this, but 2 wins in your last 10 games, okay? That ain't going to do it. And nor should it do it for a Villa team that should be making steps. But they finished 13th last year or whatever, 14th. And we're all treating them like they finished top 7, top 8.
Because
we really are.
It's true. It's true. I feel like you're saying a good saying they're a bit overrated, maybe, Aston Villa right now.
I think I am saying that. Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption.
I feel like you're getting somewhere. You're getting somewhere, definitely. I agree with that. You're reaching maybe with Stevie G, but Stevie G at Rangers ain't showing the same that at Aston Villa, definitely. Absolutely. So I do feel like those are the right questions to do right now to Aston Villa fans. And West Ham too, man. Go bolder next season. This season. You got to. Skamaka, come on. But yes, people, put down below all your thoughts about the Premier League. What we didn't say. And yes, top 4 predictions, transfer predictions. Put down below in the comments section. And we spoke about Real Madrid when we spoke about United with Casemiro. But I want to shout something that Florentino Perez gets a lot of attention in the world of football, and there's a reason why he gets that. Real Madrid have won all these Champions League because of a man like Florentino Perez managing the club at the top, in my opinion, because Florentino's management has sold at late stages Ronaldo for 170 million, Di Maria for 75 million, Varane for 40, Navas for 15, and now Casemiro for 70. That is 390 million in 5 players that they weren't in the best phase in their career. So with 5 players, they got 390 million. that with United, they should look and see how they do business with their players that are going down. So I really believe that Real Madrid, off the field, are showing how to do great management and on the field. So I really wanted to say that because for me, it's just shocking. And they got a ton of legends, man. And this season, no Bale, no Isco, no Casemiro now. Like, Ronaldo's left, Pep's left. Like, it's the end of an era, the Galacticos, and the start of a new one with Tchouaméni and Camavinga. And Fede Valverde. I gotta shout out Fede Valverde. Gotta go Bold too, the Uruguayan beast. And Tchouaméni, I want to say this comment too with Real Madrid fans. Ancelotti did say like 2 weeks ago that the Tchouaméni and Camavinga he saw in training was very different of the one he saw in games because of the Real Madrid jersey having a lot of weight on it. And now that Casemiro has gone, I feel like it's not even the weight. It has to happen. So the responsibility and the confidence, the psyche, Tchouaméni knows it's now or never. 100 million, man. So I really believe that Tchouaméni is going to be a world-class next season with Real Madrid. So front starter. Front starter. Definitely.
Yeah, that would be huge. But listen, Real Madrid's already off to a good start. 2 away wins. They really didn't look like slipping at any point.
Difficult.
Apparently, I mean, we all knew this. We all knew that Luka Modric was ageless, apparently, because his goal against Celta, phenomenal. His assist was pretty good as well. He's the one I think that sprung Vinicius for his first goal of the season, or maybe second goal of the season. So yeah, it is. It's a new phase, and it's one that Tchouaméni was well known, but I wouldn't have necessarily called him some sort of a Galactico in any way, shape, or form. But they still spent a pretty penny on Tchouaméni, so he's got to step up. And the next is going to be in the future that reinvigoration of that front line, and whether or not they can do it. Yeah, whether or not they can do it seamlessly. Benzema needs a backup.
True.
He needs a backup at some point.
And Mayoral is not even on the bench. I don't know if he's injured, maybe, but Mariano Diaz is the replacement. And Hazard, I saw a ton of people saying Hazard is the one going to play striker. I still see Hazard replacing Vinicius Jr. So as the winger role, I think he's a good solution towards Vinicius. But for the striker role, they still need a solution from Benzema. And Gabriel Jesus would have been the best. So let's wait and see what are they going to do. But Vinicius and Benzema, that chemistry, that duo is everything that they have creatively going forwards. So if they're going to win another Champions League or beat the El Clasico with Barca, it's with Vinicius Jr. improving even more than last season that he scored a goal in the final of the Champions League. So it's good stuff, man.
And kind of an addendum in a less kind of serious way, but not only does Real Madrid, I mean, I know Ancelotti was kind of like his mind was blown by Casemiro's decision, but they also don't stand in the way of their youngsters that are set to leave, right? I highly rate this fullback, Miguel Gutierrez. They sold him with a buyback clause to Girona, right? He's off. He's in La Liga. They're going to watch him. They're going to see how he happens. They definitely need to deputize some new fullbacks moving forward. And yet Real Madrid said, we still can't promise you that you're going to play every day. We're going to send you to Girona for 4 million euros, right? So I have no doubt that they're currently trying to ID their next striker because they were comfortable also sending out, I believe Borja Mayoral was sent to Getafe. I think he's either on loan or it's permanent this time. Okay. So they're getting thinner before they get, more robust. So we'll see who Real Madrid brings in. And I would imagine you'd get your answer in the next few days because, hey, this window's coming shut sometime soon.
And the last thing I got to say is like with midfield, if Real Madrid are getting the 70 million from Casemiro, from United with Casemiro, I am sure next transfer window we will see Real Madrid signing a top-tier midfielder. Let's wait and see who will be the Galactico. But I see Jude Bellingham, a ton of Jude Bellingham news. And if he goes to the Prem, I think Liverpool. But Galactico option for Jude Bellingham would be bold. Okay, Fede, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and Jude Bellingham, the future in midfield at Real Madrid would be the boldest in the world. no doubt. Competing against the likes of Barca with Pedri and Gavi. That's the competition we were going to see. Bold, man.
Yeah, and I would love to get in his mind if Bellingham's first thought is, I have to return to the Premier League, or I have to go to the Premier League, I guess I should say. I have to go to the Premier League and make my stamp back where I was born, essentially. Or if because he was so adventurous in the first place to leave for Borussia Dortmund to make a name for himself, maybe the next step is, before he conquers the Premier League, maybe his next step is to head to La Liga. So Real Madrid would be a really, really, really interesting place. And just, come on, Bellingham, Camavinga, and Tchouaméni?
I got options.
And Valverde? I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But, La Liga just started. We're going to ramp up our coverage of La Liga in the near future.
Yes.
But, it's already off to a pretty good start. Real Betis is not slowing down. They started the season hot. Wanmi, dude. Wanmi is making a name for himself to be in that roster come Qatar World Cup time. So, La Liga will be fun to watch. I think it will be closer than people are, especially me, closer than people are giving anyone credit for against Real Madrid. But I don't know. We're going to get some answers soon with how Barcelona. Yeah,
true. But, so people, put down below, will Jude Bellingham go to the Prem, go to Real Madrid? We want to see your thoughts about Jude Bellingham, because anything can happen. And with Real Madrid, La Liga thoughts too. Put down below the Barca game, the Atletico game. Put down below your thoughts about those and the transfers that they need to do. I'm gonna want to talk now with Bayern, man, because Bayern won 7-0 to Bochum, and they clearly had a bit of PTSD of losing 4-2 in the past to Bochum. And I gotta say this too: Bayern, in 3 games in the Bundesliga, already have a 14-goal difference in 3 games. This is absolutely ridiculous. And Nagelsmann ball is in full effect right now. And it's interesting with no striker too. So I want to give a shout out to Mane. 4 games, 4 goals. And the intent is clear with Bayern. Sadio Mane is at Bayern to become the best African player ever to play football. I think that is the plan, and let's wait and see if it happens. But a really good start. A really good start.
And they were Musiala less in that match. Strikerless essentially. But Sadio Mane was good. Leroy Sané was good. Kingsley Coman is he's just a cheat code at times. They have a whole lot more depth. So I don't know who the idiot was that thought that maybe this year was the year Bayern was going to potentially relinquish their Bundesliga title. I'm pointing at him. And if you can't see me, I'm pointing at myself, because I kind of thought maybe Dortmund could do it. But then Dortmund goes and blows up the largest stinker in world football this past weekend. Like, what in the heck was that?
85th minute. They were winning 3-0.
2-0. They're winning 2-0, and in 6 minutes, Werder Bremen, newly promoted Werder Bremen, scores 3 goals in 6 minutes. And one of those goals, you ready for this? Okay. One of those goals came from a Derby County player, Lee Buchanan, 21 years old, that I'm pretty certain that the majority of our listeners did not even know that he left Derby County amidst the exodus that came after their disciplinary problems, right? Them getting relegated as well. He scored one of the goals, and even better, a 25-year-old Scotsman, Oliver Burke, who's been to 8 different clubs, scored the match winner. He made Niklas Sula look slower than he actually is. It's ridiculous. And Niklas Sula, I hate to say it because I had really high hopes for him with Schlotterbeck in that center back pairing for Dortmund. Niklas Sula had one of the worst outings that I've seen him ever have. Okay, and this is a German international we're talking about. So kudos to Werder Bremen for getting those 3 points there. It was also nice seeing Gio Reyna back on the pitch and not getting injured again. So I've got my fingers crossed there. But not even Jude Bellingham could do anything to stop this. So ultimately, Bayern, you are going to win your 11th in a row. I have no qualms, I have no thought, no negativity when it comes to this decision in my mind anymore, because Leverkusen looks like crap.
And Leipzig lost to Union Berlin. They lost to Union Berlin too. Like, I'd expect, like, with Nkunku, with Werner back, Leipzig should win those games. And Union Berlin is a tough team, though, at home, but still.
Jordan Pefok, baby. Jordan Pefok.
And Sheraldo, I was like, whoa, who's Sheraldo, man, destroying Leipzig? I had to give him a shout, stuff. Man. Like, what a crazy name. I love it. Sheraldo, love to see it. Right.
But Union Berlin needs to get a little more respect.
True.
Okay, they're a very workmanlike team, but they get pretty key. They've been pretty high up in the table for a while now. So I think I'm not going to say it, but if they could get more financial backing, if they could maybe get one of those 100 million, 60 million, 40 million, whatever you call it, one of those big name sales, right? That fund their ascent, Union Berlin might be a sleeping giant in the future. Ooh. I mean, come on, you're right in Berlin.
True.
Anyway, it was great to see that game, but yeah, it is Bayern's Bundesliga to lose, and ultimately, some of you might see that as boring in Farmers League. Others might see it as just a way to say, "Hey, great management." And Bayern, you want to look great management up in the dictionary. Bayern will be next to it.
I agree. The League too, like they're like saying, yes, here's the Lewandowski money. The League being their boss, literally. So people, put down below your thoughts about the Bundesliga. Will Bayern win it easily once again, or will Dortmund and Leipzig go bold and come for a title race as they should? So in the podcast, I really want to mention this here on my end, so I don't forget. Porto against Sporting. 3-0 win from Porto. No surprise since Sporting lost Mateus Nunes, to Wolves. But I gotta say this. Diogo Costa, in that game against Sporting, Diogo Costa showed to the Portuguese people that he should start definitely in the Euros for Portugal. Diogo Costa, one of the best young keepers in the world. And I can't see him staying more than one season after this one. Because a young keeper is definitely something that a lot of teams will want in the next transfer window. So Diogo Costa, watch out for him. Portuguese young keeper at Porto. So I have to shout him out. Great game, man.
And for those that missed the game, it was a 3-0 scoreline?
3-0 scoreline. We have Taremi, we have Otávio, we have Pep Rodrigues, the one that was at Grêmio. Pep 2 at center back. So there's a lot of mix and a lot of players to watch from Porto. And Porto is an underrated team to watch, people. If you go to SofaScore, see the team, what you got to remember is Sérgio Conceição, the manager. He has the footprint on the team, and they will win Primeira Liga. If they win Primeira Liga, Porto, it's with Sérgio Conceição's tactics and those bold ones that make things right. Taremi, if he was younger, everybody would be going crazy for him. And I can see Evan Nielsen being the next big sale of Porto, being a young striker in today's market. More than 60 to 70 million. Definitely. Yeah. So
five goal involvements in his last 4 matches, right? But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going for nostalgia, I guess. If I'm going for who I have followed the most, I can't get past Florentino midfield.
True.
With Enzo. So it does seem like it's going to be Benfica versus Porto, but I did see a really interesting result over the weekend. I don't know much about this team, but Casemiro beat Boa Vista.
Yes. Casemiro, yeah. Casemiro coming newly promoted team, has a lot of history in Portugal, stadium in renewal. It's a team that shows promise, I agree, but let's wait and see what Casemiro. It's a team in Lisbon too, so it's like another team from the capital, and it seems to be the up trajectory. And the team that I would say for the viewers, if you want to watch more Primeira Liga, watch Estoril. Estoril has Nelson Veríssimo, the former boss of Benfica, that managed to put Darwin getting those great numbers at Benfica. Nelson Veríssimo is now at Estoril, and he's got a great core there. Tiago Gouveia, Bernardo Vital. There's great players there to be played at Estoril, and watch what's happening. It's really good. Really, Rodrigo Martins, Chico Geraldes. I like their team. Joãozinho. So yeah. real people.
Okay. Well, we definitely can't go any further without mentioning the fact that Romelu Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez in Serie A for Inter Milan are currently doing some very good things. Okay. Inter is definitely going to be in the running for the Scudetto this season again. I picked them. I picked them to potentially win it all because it's hard to repeat. I know you didn't. Because AC Milan looks pretty dang good too. But I'm telling you, if Lukaku and Lautaro can continue to deepen that partnership, it's going to be really, really interesting. But Lukaku is playing with that chip on his shoulder that I expected him to.
Agreed.
He wants to be back, and he wants to make a difference.
And they're keeping Dumfries. Dumfries and Bastoni and Skriniar, all those players that every transfer window we see, they're going to leave. Inter, as it seems, they're going to stay. And Lautaro Martinez, I didn't see a lot of news for him to leave after they got the Lukaku move. So he seems happy now that his the partner in crime is back. So, yeah, with Serie A, like, I do understand where you're coming from with Inter.
But here is the one. Here is the one that I already probably have to take a big L on. I 100% didn't think that Napoli was going to be able to reinvigorate their attack.
Well, yeah.
Well, a 21-year-old winger from Georgia, the country, not the state here, where Atlanta is housed. No. Kvaratskhelia has done it again. He has 2 goals. He had 2 goals over the weekend versus Monza. He was a terror on the wings once again. And I don't know. I mean, he might be in the running for best young player in Serie A this particular season because Kvaratskhelia, Peter Zielinski, Victor Osimhen. Stanislav Lobotka does not get enough credit.
Lozano maybe.
Yeah, I mean Lozano maybe. I mean when he
Elmish.
I can't praise Chucky. Elmish has gotten in. He's done some okay things, but really it's been Zielinski has been lights out since he started. Lobotka, Osimhen, and Khvicha have been absolutely insane for Napoli. And if they score 3, 4, 5 goals a game like they've already started the Serie A season doing, they're clearly going to be a little bit tough to beat. But no, I just love it because this guy Khvicha was in the Russian Premier League, was playing for teams, and obviously when all that, we're not going to talk about it, but when all that insanity started, he was one of the first guys when I was looking at players I wanted to essentially defect from that league and come closer to where we could watch it. He was one of the first players that I said, I want to see more of him, and I cannot be happier that he's landed at Napoli.
And Raspadori too, we have to see more on him.
Yes.
That was a big buy for them. And Meret at goalie. Young goalie for today's market. I could see Napoli maybe getting a good deal in the future for Meret too. But Zielinski, man, if they're going to get that top 4, Zielinski has to show big results, better results than last season. I agree. And Osimhen, if you want to leave for 80 or 90 million, Osimhen has to go bolder. So I agree with that.
And I'll be honest, he didn't even have a great game versus Monza. He did not have a good game, but he still got on the score sheet and he's roaring to go. So I don't know. There's a lot of come on, La Liga, Serie A, a lot of good competition, good at the top battles that we can all watch and definitely monitor this season.
Do you have any last shouts, Bretson?
Nah, we barely even scraped the surface of Liga, but I do have to shout out the one of the Arsenal loan army, I guess you could call it, Folarin Balogun.
Oh,
right, English, U.S. He's currently playing for the English. He's currently an English youth national, but Balogun has gone to Stade Reims. He has scored 3 goals in his first 3 games. He is the first player in that club's history since 1975 to do that. And he currently sits atop or co-atop the Ligue 1 scoring table. Balogun is the one that Arsenal obviously wanted to hold on to. They extended his contract, but they said there's not room for you. We also just promised Nketiah some playing time. Balogun is the guy that I would love to see commit his future unapologetically to the American national team. Whether or not that happens, I do not know, but it is great to see him balling out And there's something about Arsenal loaning their players to Ligue 1 clubs. It seems to work out.
Yeah,
it really does.
Well, true. I thought you were gonna say Tavares for a second too there, but I agree. Balogun, great shout from New York, right? Born in New York. Am I right?
Yep.
Like
Musa?
I think so. Like right. Musa. Oh,
like Yunus Musa, like Jonathan David. And he's Canadian though. And listen, the last thing I gotta say, last thing I have to say, because I haven't really talked too much about our domestic, our Major League Soccer season. My hometown team, okay, is currently, they've got plus 31 goal differential. They're a Moneyball type of team, okay? They are Billy Bean to the max. They do not spend a lot. They do not have billionaires as owners, and it has frustrated us because Philadelphia is not a small city in our world, but they are currently doing some really fun stuff, as most people are starting to see with Brendan Aronson, that there is something in the water in Philadelphia, and there are a lot of clubs that are watching this youth academy and what is coming next. I mean, but somebody right now is definitely going to be looking at Julian Carranza because he's 22 years old. David Beckham and Inter Miami essentially brought him into the league. They then signed Gonzalo Higuain, and he was relegated to obscurity and not given the chance to do anything. He has come to the Union and has become a massive portion of one of the best young attacks in the league. He's got 12 goals this season. He's got 4 or 5 assists as well. And he was brought in, I think we picked him up for maybe $2 million, $1.5 million. Cut rate from Miami. My guess is that somebody in La Liga, somebody in Serie A is going to come definitely looking the same way that Jack McGlynn is being looked at by PSV Eindhoven. And that is not just fluff. That is a potential signing that you might want to watch because Jack McGlynn has come into his own. So I got to give my hometown team some love. If you don't watch Major League Soccer, or if you have some issues with Major League Soccer, at least go check out these two players and check out what the Union are doing with just in major ways with very little resources compared to some of the other clubs. And it is a lot of fun to watch. And then you might start to like what Major League Soccer does because there's some phenomenal players in this league right now. But anyway, Philadelphia Union, thanks for giving me a great birthday present.
Oh, I love to see it. And you mentioned Jackman, and we see now Brendan Aronson in the Premier League. So here, Brendan might be saying to you guys the next Brendan Aronson coming from the MLS. So people, do not forget to like this podcast. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Apple Podcasts. If you have an account, it's a huge help for us at FC Wonderkid. And thank you for listening to us until now at episode 69. Thank you for liking the video too, people. And thank you for going bold, community. See ya.